eggs are those, Pepper?
Look what just hatched. I wonder what kind they are. A while ago, we were digging potatoes and we found these eggs.
What's going on here, girls?
We're digging up potatoes. Big red apples.
You only found one?
No, we found all of them.
Oh,
We just got
that looks
big.
fun.
That one got overflowed.
So it's like, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Big red apple. But cherry.
Nice.
Oh, look, gold.
That ain't gold, that's red.
Well, the other
Red
ones
gold.
were
Oh,
gold.
red gold. Red gold.
Here, Bugger, take this one. Or maybe a red apple.
That is gigantic.
I mean, it's not too big, but
It's the biggest
It's a
one.
good
biggest
potato.
one we've got.
Nice.
Mama
Well, I'll
has
let you girls work through here.
Actually, it's bigger than my hands put together.
Well, kids here are doing some potato harvesting, but like when we were doing our other stuff, including some potato harvesting last night, what happened, Pinky?
I found eggs, little eggs like little snake eggs and prairie lizard eggs in the other potato bed.
Yeah, so the other bed looked like either like a rough green snake, a broadhead skink, something like that type eggs. These are bigger. Can you put your hand next to there for a minute?
Yeah.
I'll take a picture before you pull them out. But these look like either maybe a box turtle egg or a black rat snake. And one reason I'm thinking maybe black rat snake is over here. I'll show you past these bees. Bees are there. But if you look at this, see, here's a big long snake skin. This is the head here. Comes across and heads all the way up into there. So this is black rat snake, I'm guessing. Looks to seem to be the part. So we've definitely had them around this area. And yeah, we're getting more of a clutch. Okay, let me snap a couple photos and we'll pull them up. So the goal is actually going to be to scoop that whole section out carefully.
Like this?
Like the whole section, all the whole clump of soil, and set it in that bucket.
Okay.
Think you can try to do that? I would reach underneath it, like that. And with two hands, try to break that whole section up. Kind of like when you're uprooting a plant and you kind of leave the roots in. Try to keep it intact. Just grab that whole pile. So we definitely like snakes, and we like different creatures. So we're going to try to give these a chance. I am going to try to set them in the middle there. Okay. And then we're just going to pack them in a little bit. And you're going to continue to look. And that might be it.
Yeah.
Which, if it's that small of a clutch, what did we have last time we had black rat snake eggs?
We had a bunch.
Yeah, it was a dozen.
So maybe they're box turtle.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, just carefully sprinkle some dirt. Let me get a picture of this.
Okay, I don't.
So just cover them up, kids, and then we'll kind of put them where I think they can
On
incubate.
this?
Yeah. Grab the stuff from behind you, like I said. Scoop some up and then sprinkle it on.
Where we keep our other eggs.
And we'll just try to keep an eye on these and see. That seems pretty good. And who knows? Last year we got to hatch some black rat snakes and some rough green snakes in our hands. This year we may get to see some babies too.
No, it's good.
Cool.
And we put them in a bucket with some dirt and some leaf litter and everything. And then we let them be for a few months, and we check on them every once in a while. We wouldn't really move the eggs. And then we knew it was time they would probably start hatching. And we kind of tried to check on them pretty often to see if we could maybe get it on video, maybe when they're hatching, or at least see them hatch. And we found them. I found them when they were hatching in the bucket, and they all hatched. There's 5 of them.
So quite a while ago, we had found these eggs, I think when we were doing our potatoes. We've been keeping an eye on them, and it looks like the first couple are going to hatch. I'm not sure at this point if they're black rat snakes or if they're maybe like prairie king snakes. But we'll be able to tell hopefully pretty soon here. You can see it's open though. 2 of these out of these 5, and something's in there. So I'm trying to get a look at these as the head starts peeking out. And looks like we may have prairie king snakes on our hand. I can't be sure. I'll have to get these guys out for an ID. But they're starting to come out, so that'll help us know. Can I get the macro lens? Here's a slightly better look at that. There you are. Crazy. Whoa, look at that tongue action. Well, look who decided to come out. Now, these look a different color and shorter than the black rat snakes we hatched last year. There is also a Great Plains rat snake, but I don't believe I've ever met it yet. But it could be in this area, so I'm thinking these are probably Prairie Kingsnakes. That's what they're looking like to me. Check a couple more things here and then see. Hey buddy. Wow. Kids, this is at least the 3rd species of snake we've watched hatched out on our land here, huh?
So cute.
Good looking snake. What do you guys think it is?
A Prairie Kingsnake.
Prairie King?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, I
that
think
rat
that's
snake.
Buddy thinks it's a black rat snake. Not a black rat snake.
Hey, buddy.
Because it has buffs on it.
Oh, he said it's a black rat snake.
So if you take a look here, that snake on the right is a DeKay's brown snake, and that's a full-grown adult. This one here is a baby, probably Prairie Kingsnake, but just amazing to see the difference. How some babies are as big as other adults. Beautiful snakes, both of them. But wow. So I'm going to lift this guy up here and take a look at the belly pattern. Oh yeah, that looks a lot more king snake than it does rat snake. Well, it does got a fade coming down too. Wow. Not a racer, that much we know. We know it's not a racer.
I wish.
And these are still all kind of newer species for me down here, so very interesting. Wow, kids, we're hatching snakes all the time, and those lizards.
Mm-hmm.
That was new for this year.
We've done 5 lines.
So what ones have we hatched on our land? All the species from eggs from the wild.
Okay. We've done black rat snakes, rough green snakes. I think that's what we've done. Oh, and then these ones, the Prairie Kingsnakes, I think. And then for lizards, we've done prairie lizards and 5-line skinks.
Yep, 5-line skinks and eastern fence lizards, eastern prairie lizards. Yep. This one is empty. This one is hatching. This one is full and waiting. Wow, more snakes hatching on the homestead. What are you guys doing today? Bugger, what do we got here?
We got a turtle.
A turtle. Do you know what kind?
Yeah.
Is it a painted turtle?
No.
Is it a red-eared slider?
No.
Is it a box turtle?
Yeah.
Yeah, a box turtle. Can you say 3-toed box turtle?
Beetle box turtle.
And how old are you?
3.
You're 3? And it's a 3-toed box turtle.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. We've definitely had a lot crazier looking ones than this, right?
Yeah.
But it's still neat. Should we let it go join our organic pest control posse in the garden?
Yeah.
And what will it do?
It could eat a bug.
It could eat some bugs. And might it want to eat a strawberry too?
Yeah.
Maybe, huh? I don't know if you guys can see that coming out from that center egg now. But all that's out. It looks like the next snake is hatched. Wow. Those are beautiful, aren't they, son?
Yeah.
Are these venomous snakes?
No.
No. So they can bite, but it won't hurt you? Not really. Cool.
That this one can open his mouth.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's right. Even turtles can open their mouths.
Yeah. I'm big.
And this guy, if he gets scared and tries to pinch himself into his, if he hides in his shell, he could pinch you in his shell too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want that either, do we?
No.
No. So we were able to go for a ride and find this snake, which is originally what I thought the parent was. Yeah, put it in a bag probably. Yeah, you don't got the neck, man. Got to stop, pick it up on the road. This is a black rat snake, and we have hatched these out of eggs we found on our homestead before. These are going to pose a threat to our chicks, our baby ducklings, whoa, our eggs. See, this one's in the blue right now, so if you look at its eyes are glossed over because it's going to shed. So it's picking up the shadow of the microphone on the camera, and it's just being defensive. It's not aggressing, it just feels that there's a threat there, so it wants to say, hey, don't mess with me, I'll defend myself. We did hatch some of these out the other year, and the babies looked a little bit different than these when they hatched. So you can see there that that type of baby was different than these guys. That, when they started hatching, made me realize these were not black rat snakes. And this one here, I'm probably going to give a small presentation to some children with this one. It'll probably shed by then, and then we'll release it somewhere where it's not eating our animals. But what a crazy cool creature.
This snake is finally already dead.
I know. Now this is an example of a pretty common snake that a lot of people are going to be familiar with. Garter snakes and ribbon snakes are mostly known for being the black snakes with the yellow lines down them. But we knew that it wasn't a garter snake or a ribbon snake that was going to be the parent of those eggs. The reason we knew that is that these guys give live birth. Wow, it is musking very hard right now, so from their vent where they poop, pee, and reproduce from, they can also go musk, and they emit a really foul odor. A lot of people talk about how bad the like Nerodia, the non-venomous water snakes, which would be like broad-banded water snakes, or Nerodia fasciata. There's Nerodia erythrogaster, the plain-bellied water snakes, Nerodia cypodon, the northern water snakes. They musk pretty good, the Nerodia, but I think garter and ribbon still might have them beat. So that's another example of a snake in the area that could be found in our garden, but we knew the eggs weren't from this because they give live birth. And this here's an example of one of those nice little non-venomous Nerodia water snakes. These also give live birth. So even though these do cross through our property, even though we do have ponds kind of surrounding and a little garden pond on our property, we also knew it wouldn't be a snake like this. And one of the cool things too is when you find snake eggs, the North American pit vipers, so your copperheads, your cottonmouths, also known as water moccasins, and then all of your rattlesnakes are all North American pit vipers, but they all give live birth. So the coral snake would be the only venomous North American species that really poses a threat to people that would be laying eggs. And we don't really have those this far north, up here in the Ozarks of northwest Arkansas. They can be found down in kind of like the tip. And one guy I know claims he found one in his garden, but whether that was a scarlet snake or a milk snake or actually a coral snake, I don't know. The snakes don't always stick to the geographical locations that people kind of have for them, you know, on the map. So they can travel, but we knew it wasn't one of these either. So that led me to think we're probably dealing with the prairie kingsnake, and just like we found that black rat snake on that road, we happened to find our first prairie kingsnake of the year. So this is, I believe, the species that we're dealing with. This is a Lampropeltis calligaster. These are the Prairie Kingsnakes. As you head farther east, I think there's, mole kingsnakes, which are very similar. At this stage of the game, this one's rather kind of plain on the belly and rather kind of patternless on the back, although you can still make out some stuff. Just like those baby black rat snakes, they're going to start off gray with a lot of high frequency pattern that's going to be dark black. When they get bigger, they're almost solid black. These guys can kind of go almost a solid brown and change quite a bit by the time they get this size. Or you can find ones that are still pretty decent as far as having some pattern left. So these guys are cool. This was actually the first large species that I found when I moved down to the Ozarks. Found one of these, and it was a little bit bigger than this, but a really impressive snake. The first time I'd ever encountered those in my life. These guys are cool. These guys, the Prairie Kingsnake, they are known as being king snakes and therefore potentially eating other snakes, including venomous ones, but they also are known for eating rodents, and then lizards are another thing they eat a lot of. So those little ones are going to be very comfortable eating lizards. And if you think about these guys, they do head through kind of the leaf litter or head under stuff too, so it's easy for one of these maybe to dig through some of our raised beds. There's a number of kind of mouse runways sometimes through there. There's a lot of rock structure and stuff, so the fact that we had one on our property, because I don't think it was this one, but we had one on our property that laid those eggs, and the fact that we never saw it isn't really surprising to me. So Lampropeltis calligaster, the Prairie Kingsnake, I think that's exactly who we're dealing with these babies. And then how cool is it, as those babies are hatching, to be taking a cut down the dirt road, same dirt road we found that black rat snake on, and wind up with a mature adult. Potentially this could be the, the parent, either the father or the mother. I haven't sexed this one yet, but I'm thinking not. We've got enough of them in the area that it was probably another one. So pretty cool. So if you look at this handful, this is all 5 of them right here. You're going to see they've got a bit of a different pattern than that adult. They look a little different, and you wouldn't really necessarily know that these are the children. I guess maybe when you've got some parents and then you look at the kids and they all got, pink and blue hair and other things, you wouldn't really know that was the same thing. But these guys just have these cool patterns from God that help camouflage them, especially at this stage of the game. If we let these go in our garden right now, there would be so many little brown skinks and then the eastern fence lizards that they would be able to enjoy and eat, and they certainly would. And to me, it's just crazy to see all these little heads. You can see 3 of them all hanging out here at the same thing. And look at that. See that? At this stage too, they're very defensive. It's a little slow because it's cool weather right now, but it wants me to know that if I try to aggress it, if I try to attack it, it's going to defend itself. So how cool is that? So this snake, the adult one, is being pretty chill right now. They will be rather defensive at first. They'll open their mouths. They'll try to bite you. You got to be careful, but this gives you a good idea as we look. Can we step in the shade a little more, son? You're getting part sun, part not. Right over here, buddy. So here you can see kind of some of that color difference between these ones, where these little ones are so high pattern and this big one's kind of more drab. A beautiful snake, very interesting, and you can see it's got, this one almost reminds me of like a rubber boa type head. Very interesting. And these guys too, compared to like the little racers or the little black rat snakes, they've got a different shaped head, kind of different eye position and stuff like that. Just wow, pretty crazy, huh, son? You're not afraid of that one?
Yeah.
No. See, he's not moving or doing much, so it's not opening his mouth. It's not feeling threatened. It's just kind of chilling. Wow, that's so crazy. So with these guys obviously are going to be egg layers. They're going to be found across parts of the Midwest and then also like the southeastern United States. There is a Great Plains rat snake that looks kind of similar, especially when the big ones kind of keep more of the color. They look kind of similar. And then these Lampropeltis calligaster, the Prairie Kingsnake, that's the name I know them by. That's kind of how I was introduced to them, and then you kind of get that first name association with them. But they're also commonly called a yellow-bellied kingsnake. So around here, we mostly have the prairie kingsnake or yellow-bellied kingsnake, and then we also have the speckled kingsnake. I think those are the two main kingsnakes we have. We also have scarlet snakes and milk snakes and a variety of water snakes, the garter snakes, ribbon snakes. There's a lot of different stuff going on, plus a number of the venomous ones. But these are one of the ones that we enjoy finding more, because if you can get a large, impressive, kind of cool non-venomous species, they're just really cool to check out, especially once they realize you're not going to be a threat and they're willing just to kind of chill out and hang out there. I mean, to me that's special. To me that's something that I really appreciate, and I'm glad that my children can experience too, even watching them hatch in hand. So here too, as I mentioned earlier, with these guys, these young ones here, unless they can find like a den of, or like a little nest of rodents like baby mice, they're not really going to be able to eat rodents at this stage. So other small snakes they may definitely eat, and they're definitely going to be eating lizards and stuff too. They may eat other little things, but then as they get bigger, their diet will still consist of like little lizards or bigger lizards at that point. And they have been known to eat snakes, but primarily they're a rodent eater. So that's one reason why that big one, we're probably going to let go on our land here. It was found just down the road off our land. Snakes are kind of sometimes territorial, where you don't want to move them too much. But if we have one in the area that's useful and we find it right next door, we've got no problem letting them go on our land. And then when you deal with the various species, you know, these fit into the broader category of king snakes, but then the actual species of Lampropeltis calligaster would be the yellow belly king snake. And as you head from there, there's 3 recognized subspecies. 2 are going to be types of mole king snakes. And even these guys, when they hatched out of that bucket, and they would bury themselves. You'd look in the bucket and they'd look like they were all gone, except for you could see little holes in the soil. So they were down underneath there. So I think that a good place for these to live for now is going to be up in our raised beds, up in our gardens, where they can, look at all those heads, where they can not only just enjoy some good soil and material to kind of cruise through, but then they can also hopefully find some little mice. They may cut back on the lizard population a little bit, but there are so many of them up there right now. That's kind of okay. So beautiful non-venomous snakes. So blessed to be able to see, and what an experience to hatch them out. This makes the 3rd species of wild snake that we've been able to hatch out on our homestead. That's kind of exciting. Then we also had 2 lizards species this year, the 5-line skink and the eastern fence lizard. Well guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you learned something, maybe about this species, maybe about just snakes in general. Remember, not all snakes are bad snakes, and a lot of times with just a little bit of education, you can learn to identify them at a glance. You can learn which ones are beneficial. To me, we have mice around here. I don't want to get a cat. If I can have a couple of natural snakes that live in the area, native species that are non-venomous, that don't pose a threat to our animals, I'd love to have them cruising around eating those for us. They're cool to check out, cool to see. Even my children, they have a healthy respect for a lot of this, and we try to be safe when we do this. A lot of people may just hate all snakes and not know a lot about it and be like, oh, how could you let your kid touch a snake? But it's kind of like the difference between a big, powerful dog that's been trained to kill and petting a puppy. Yes, there's snakes that can potentially kill you. There's snakes that can really hurt you, just like there's dogs that really can. But you don't, I see people confusing a cute little purse puppy a lot of times for some big kind of murder machine of a dog. And there's a difference if you know. If you don't know, you know, educate yourself. It's okay. These ones are not bad at all. And we definitely enjoy seeing them around, don't we, son?
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't get to do a lot of this as a kid. You know, I never hatched any wild snake eggs out. We saw some red-bellied snakes give live birth when I was a kid. But it's kind of cool to see at my age, but then how much more when you're homeschooling your children, when you're teaching them, you know, natural sciences, biology, genetics, all sorts of stuff. They learn so much of that just from some of the hands-on lifestyle stuff we do. So what do we say, kids?
Thank you for watching our snake video.
Thanks for watching our snake video. And now how do we say goodbye?
Goodbye.
And bugger out.
And bugger out.